A very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on The Probe. Now, in a country where, per the roads minister himself, some 60% of our road networks are in a terrible state, an acceleration in terms of road construction and rehabilitation is crucial. Delayed payments, however, have become the nemesis of contractors, making the completion of projects a living nightmare. There has been a long-standing tug of war of sorts between road contractors and government over contractual payments, which have recently led to some heated exchanges between the two parties. But how do we arrive at an amicable solution? Meanwhile, as these projects, in this case road projects, stall, the ordinary citizen who cannot use the hellish road or convey farm produce to a sales point or make it in time for work or even get emergency medical help becomes the unintended casualty. The question is, how can we get past this hurdle? What are the manifold bottlenecks at play? Is government committed enough to follow through on its financial obligations? Are the contractors themselves living up to expectation? And when will the ordinary tax-paying Ghanaian get proper value for his or her tax money in terms of efficiency and timely execution of road projects? We probe this matter and answer all these questions live on JoyNews, Joy Prime, myjoyonline.com. We're also live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. On radio, we're live on Joy 99.7 FM, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, and a dozen affiliates across the country. This is The Probe. Stay tuned.
My name is Kujo Yankson. Let me tell you how to turn back time. You can now bring back all the fun, all the excitement, all the controversy of the Super Morning Show and all your favorite Joy shows when you go to myjoyonline.com/podcasts. Just select your favorite show and bring it all back again. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Radio, Joy 99.7.
Of course, if they left side because of non-payment and now the state has paid them money, it's incumbent on them to return to site and carry on with their works. But if they don't come, that means that they don't have the intention to work again. And so our procedure is to serve them with letters. First warning, second warning, and ultimately we terminate. And sometimes we have to prosecute them. Okay, so that is what I just reiterated, that all the contractors who are not on site and some for non-performance, not because we owe them. Some of them we have paid them all their IPCs, but yeah, they will hide under the cloak of non-payment, and they will not do the work. But now, if they don't return to site, I think we can terminate their contracts.
Welcome back on The Probe, and that was Stephen Jalula, Deputy Roads and Highways Minister, who will be joining us for this conversation. We also have Stephen Atachi, Vice President, Association of Road Contractors Ghana, and governs Kwame Agboja, Ranking Member, Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament. All of them join us tonight on The Probe. Gentlemen, I'd like to say a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Good evening.
And pretty interesting, the postures tonight on The Probe. I would also plead with you that if you could turn whatever gadget you're using the other way so that we can have, a landscape view and actually, have a very good conversation. Thank you. So this is the conversation we're having. It is about the state of Ghana's roads. We're looking at the politics of it, of contract payments, and the implications on that on our road network. And that is the discussion we're going to be having tonight with these groups. So let me start with you, Honorable Jalula. You have actually been speaking in recent times about the fact that you want these contractors to get back on site and do exactly what they have contracted to do, that is put up the roads. Now, in the meantime, they have also come out with certain concerns. But let me start with you by finding out, have those payments indeed been made to the contractors to the tune of about 800 million Ghana cedis? Has that payment been made to the contractors? Mr. Jalula, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, thank you, and cheers to all your viewers and listeners.
My regards to my honorable ranking, Honorable Kwame Agbaja, and the Vice Chair for Contractors Association. Yes, I recently have been speaking about the need for us to improve upon our funding for the road network. I mean, like road fund or funding for road network country. And I think that has necessitated this conversation that we are going to have on the probe this evening. And to the effect that Ghana, we need good roads. The road leading to my house is bad. The road leading to my constituency is equally bad. And for that matter, there's the need for us to do something extra than what we have done in the past for our roads to be better. And I think rightly so, because if you look at the need for good roads, it transcends every community in the country. And if you look at how much you pay, unfortunately, if you ask everybody, we pay the lowest toll in the country. The lowest. In Ghana, is done. Pays 50 pesos. However, in our neighboring countries, where we are
So we're facing some technical challenges, which is normal looking at the internet connectivity, Zoom connections. We'll try to rectify that shortly as we get back. Well, we have Mr. Jalula back. Please proceed with the point you were making, sir.
Yes, I was just saying that everybody needs good roads. Personally, I need good roads to my neighborhood in Accra, where I reside as an MP. And I also equally need good roads in my constituency, Pro-West constituency in the Bono East region. However, a question idea is kind of idea. So I engage the community of Anyansu Trum about 3 days ago, courtesy the MP for the area, Dr. Dixon Nadumako Kisi. Then during the conversation, I think a lot of proposals came up regarding how we could better our funding for the roads. I think one of them was the increase in the toll booths. And this thing was reiterated by my boss, the Honorable Kwesi Amakwata Atiwa West MP, when he was being vetted in February this year.
Right.
And the fact that the road tolls are going to be increased along the line. Fine. Beside that, just like I was saying before,
unfortunately, the network connectivity is not the best. Let me see whether I can. Right. So, Mr. Jalula, I just want you to very quickly do this for me, especially as the network is not so good. The 800 million Ghana cedis that we're saying are due to be disbursed, is that correct? Has that process been initiated? I just want a yes or no answer to that, sir. Mr. Jalula, please, did you get the question? All right, so we shall return to Mr. Jalula, but let's connect as well with Stephen Atachi, Vice President, Association of Road Contractors Ghana. Let me start off from where I left off with Mr. Jalula. Now, that disbursement of 800 million Ghana cedis, have you heard anything of that yet, as far as the contractors are concerned? Mr. Atachi, please unmute for us so we can hear what you're saying. All right. While Mr. Atachi works on his network connectivity, Mr. Govans, thank you for joining the conversation as well. And for you, I would start from here. What are the core processes typically that are undertaken before road contracts are awarded as far as Parliament is concerned?
Well, good evening to you and good evening to my colleague, the Deputy Roads Minister, and the gentleman who represents Association of Road Contractors. Now, typically, if it is a road project that is funded from international sources, that is an EPC contract, it would have come as a joint memo from the Roads and the Finance Ministry to Parliament, and then we work on it and give it back to them. So the relevant agency, either feeder road, highways, or urban road, would do the implementation. So that is how, if it comes on an ordinary day, the ministry basically goes through one of the processes in the Public Procurement Act, 663 or 914, as we guide it, 2016. That is either competitive bidding, selective tendering, or sole sourcing. Then they get on with it. But at all times, there ought to have been a description of the source of funding of that project. And that is at the heart of the problem we have right now, funding.
All right, so Government of Ghana initiated project, or with support from elsewhere, all of that goes into it. But a pretty straightforward situation there in terms of bankrolling these contracts. Yet we have this perennial problem where road contracts are awarded, and we come back to square one. The contracts are not executed, the roads are not brought to completion, and we've ended up here where even contractors are not being paid. Why is it the politics of it that is hampering road contracts in the country?
Well, first of all, we ought to, I agree with my colleague, the Deputy Minister, when he says that part of the problem, or the biggest part of the problem, is funding. But let's look at how we are tackling this. If you check the 2021 budget, for instance, the quantum of money allocated by government for the actual road construction is just about 1 billion. And the government tells us that a kilometer of asphalt road is about $1.2 million. So you change $1.1 billion Ghana cedi into dollars. That's divide by 6, and see how much money we have. So our expectation and the rhetorics of government doesn't match the provisions they are making. As we speak, I heard you asking the representative of the contractors whether they have heard about some 800 million Ghana cedi being disbursed. The truth is that the 800 million we are talking about is even less than the entire money that we have taken from the road fund. So we are not in any position currently to be able to pay the over 8 billion we owe road contractors currently.
Right. And we also know of the 1.8 billion. Now that you're speaking of the road fund, the 1.8 billion, and of course the chunk of it, or part of it, that supposedly is ceded to the finance ministry. But you've also been talking about the road fund itself and what can be done with it, and what it would take to get even your support from the minority end as far as, getting more funding into that kitty. What exactly is your take on that matter?
To collect about 1.6 billion Ghana cedi from the road fund. In fact, the fund outperformed the projection. We ended up collecting about 1.8 billion. But the Ministry of Finance took away over 900 million Ghana cedis and used it for other things other than road-related activities. When the road fund was set up, it was solely to do road maintenance and other things, as we are aware. So if you have a situation where Ghanaians have contributed 1.8 billion for them to do the road leading to the Deputy Minister's house, leading to my constituency, and the government decides that they will not use half of that money to do road work, you can see that it is a political choice the government has taken.
Is that a breach of the law in any way? I mean, is that anything that is in conflict with the law when it comes to the road fund?
Well, it is not. It's not a conflict, because they put an act to Parliament which basically capped every fund. So every fund that government generates, they collect a portion of it. And in the case of a sad case of the road fund, half of that money. In fact, if you read a 2020 annual report of ESLA, page table 4 and 5, it's so appalling. Look, the sad thing is that I heard you talking about pay 800 million. My brother, do you know what happens?
Tell me.
Government awards contracts, and contractors go to the banks to borrow money to go and do the work because they don't give them mobilization, especially the Ghanaian contractors. After they've worked for 1 year, 2 years, and raised certificates, government doesn't pay them. The banks keep charging the 34%. So by the time government pays them that money, the money doesn't even come to them. The money goes straight to the bank. So if the deputy minister is telling contractors to go to site, look, which businessman doesn't want to work and get money? They just don't have access to the money you pay them.
All
the
right.
banks have taken the money, so they can't go to the site.
Right. Let's hear from the contractors themselves. And Stephen Atachi is here. He is Vice President, Association of Road Contractors, Ghana. Now, I just want you to tell me very briefly, the 800 million that supposedly is designated for you, the contractors, how much have you heard of that? Have you started receiving any of those payments?
Hello, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Atachi. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much for giving me this platform to talk to the whole world, not Ghana alone, concerning this hulu balu, concerning the payment to the contractors and the other relevant to the whole issue. Once again, good evening again to your cherished listeners. Back to your question. In actual fact, if you started telling, I won't call it lies, I'll call it, untruth. You continue telling untruth till the kingdom come. Right?
Right. Who here is telling the untruth?
The government, you see, typical example, let's take for instance, they owe us over 5 billion now at the road fund now, over 5 billion. Why do you just come and say 800 have been made available to pay to who? That's the question I want to ask. To pay to who?
To you, the contractors. To you, the contractors.
Look, for instance, if a contractor having about over 12 million Ghana is not paid to the contractor for the work done, not the money paid to you to go to site to, the work done.
Right.
You see, there's a difference between when they give you a mobilization, you say go back to site, it's a different thing altogether. Like as a ranking member has said, there's no mobilization these days. You go to bank. When you go to bank, and the close of the day, the bank or any financial institution have, mobilize you to go to site. And when they pay the money go to, that financiers. Typical example, about some time ago, they say some 40%. If a bank or financial institution had given me 60% and you pay me 40%, do you think that financiers are looking for his money for over, the time due? Do you think he'll give you a penny again? He'll give you anything. In fact, in actual fact, excuse me, in the country now, it looks as if we are joking. Look, even my hometown, I'm from Ketu North. Precisely, he is my hometown in Ketu North. A contractor has finished almost getting to, soft base. But for the 4 years ago, he left. Water has washed all the soft base in the heat town and surrounded village from Georgia to from a heat to, As I'm talking to you, I'm in my village now. It's a heart-bending to be hearing all these things. And you can't do this one undercover. You just come and forming. As soon as you form the board, then you say 800 million. You see, sometimes they mention the money like if you go to...
So that's an outright lie, right? Just to confirm, that's an outright lie, the 800 million payment.
No, if you choose the word lies, it looks so untruth. I would choose untruth.
Okay.
Lies.
Hold your horses.
Truth.
Right. Hold your horses for us, Mr. Atachi. We'll clarify further with the Deputy Minister. But let's take some of the questions you've been sending through on this particular subject, the state of our roads. John Kennedy Aholu says, so now contractors are students or poodles that you want to control. You talk as if the contractors are begging you for daily food. Why would you speak in such an absurd manner? No wonder many don't want to work with this government just because of this kind of arrogance. You owe road contractors more than before, and you now release 800 million with all kinds of threats. Just give us a break. Someone who is personally affected that. Owusu Barnabas says, Mim Junction to Datano, Tonto Chrome Road in Manso, a Dubia constituency in the Amansie South District. It's one of the poorest roads in Ghana, yet the contractor is nowhere to be found. They must be sacked for serious contractors to come and fix the roads because we are suffering. That's from Osu Barnabas. Isaac Ayete says, has the money hit the accounts of the contractors, or with what are they expected to go back to site? This show of power sounds funny. Let's take Pilar Bina Bismarck. You ask some questions. One, elsewhere they don't pay teachers, police and all the security services $300 a month. Elsewhere the citizens know where the taxes they pay go to. Elsewhere their major roads are dual roads. Elsewhere the people in authority do not hire private jets for old men at £14,000 an hour. Okay, so that is your comment. Rita Bache says, I don't think the issue should be about paying more for the existing road tolls. The best way to get more income from our roads is to increase the number of toll booths. There are so many places where toll booths should be erected, but none. A few people cannot continue to pay tolls. It is unfair. Spread the toll booth and there will be enough money generated. There's also Frederick who sends in this one. If the authorities are not determined to use the little resources at their disposal to carry out periodic and routine maintenance on our roads, no amount of increment in road tolls will change the narrative. Now, on that very question to do with the road tolls, I'll come back to the Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Jalula. You have indicated on the back of what Mr. Isiama himself has been saying that road tolls are going to be increased. You were sharing with us right before you went off that indeed in some jurisdictions, while we are paying 50 pesos for saloon cars, others are paying 5 Ghana cedis. But we are not seeing the benefits as some people have shared. What do you have to say to that? Mr. Jalula, are you with us? Well, it appears we're still facing some technical challenges as far as Mr. Jalula is concerned. He was only very recently speaking about the fact that if we want better roads, if we want more, we should be willing as citizens to also pay more. But the reaction, not just from the contractors, but ordinary Ghanaians on social media has been that, well, the road tolls we pay already, what are they being used for? Many sites, many road stretches have been cited, which are in a deplorable state, and yet we keep on paying road tolls. Mr. Atachi, maybe I'll come back to you because there's a lot more meat where this matter is concerned. You have over 1,000 members in your group of contractors. Now, with this non-payment, how exactly has it affected your output? I hear some of you have not been paid for about 6 years. How has it affected your output and your livelihoods as contractors?
Yeah, my brother, it's a very sad news. Let me tell you, this weekend, about 2 contractors have been buried. People are just dying like that in the first place. Already, construction work, let's say for example, within 1 month running at your site, the fuel alone can take over 300, the cement, everything. So if you see, your deputies call you, not everybody can manage that. It's a big problem. And the close of the day, the deputies, they've understood some few things. But this is the case. It just be announced that.
Well, some connection issues still.
Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Atachi, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. It was announced that, no, they pay the contractors, our wives, I mean, they're just saying they are going to enjoy this Christmas and all those things. What happened? There was nothing like that. Look, if they are not ready, they've not raised the money, they should shut out. They shouldn't make a noise. Why do you owe contractors for 5 point something billion? Then you say 800 has been released. For that matter, you know, it's a teaspoon of salt put into the sea. You can never feel any taste of it.
Right. Now, you do admit that some of your membership, just to clarify on this matter, some of your members have actually received some sums of money, albeit those who are actually managing smaller contracts. And there's also talk of the fact, I want to clarify this, that some of you are owed sums in the millions of Ghana cedis, 5 million, 10 million, and the rest, and that there seems to be some discussion for each one of those to be paid only 1 million Ghana cedis. Please clarify that. What is the real, the truth in there?
Yeah, the truth is that after announcing the 8 million, which they knew that 8 million, like 800 million, which was...
It appears to be quite a struggle tonight as far as the connectivity is concerned. Let's go to Honorable Jalula, who has also faced similar issues. Honorable Jalula, thank you for staying with us. I was posing the question earlier about the road tolls. What is your justification for this proposed increment? People are saying we're already paying tolls and we're not seeing that much as far as our roads are concerned.
Let me reiterate that Ghana pays the lowest toll in the sub-Saharan we understandably, the roads are very poor. Roads leading to the residential area in the prime areas and roads leading to the hinterlands. So that is the reason why when I engaged the people of Anyas Road, we decided some people propose that there is a need for now Ghana to accept the increase in the toll rates, as well as other source of fundings like increase in the levy on the liter, and others propose pay more property tax for our roads to be fixed for us. Now, I listened to the person who spoke on behalf of the contractors. Personally, I empathize with all contractors because of the investments they make, and similarly, I want to empathize with them again for the loss of lives. Lives there, it is given by God and taken by God. We pray for a better rest place for those who the faithful departed. Now, what I want to say is that the government is doing its best, and after the institution of the board of directors for the road fund, payment has begun for about amount that was allocated about 800 million Ghana cedis. We know this is a drop in the sea, but all the same, we trust that this is going to cushion some of the contractors, and we have started payments. And
but you say you started payment. Pardon the interjection. How many people have been paid thus far?
I do not have the figures before me, the Minister of Finance.
Are you saying that you do not have the figures? You can hear your colleague, Mr. Atachi, actually, I believe, laughing at what you're saying. Mr. Jalula, I'm listening to you, sir.
Serious.
No, may I know from Mr. Atachi whether they have not received any payments from Minister of Finance? In that case, we will have questions to answer. Yes, he spoke and said that 800 is a drop in the sea. And I agree with them because we owe them so much. The Minister of Finance recently spoke to the press and he said that we needed 10 billion to be able to fix our roads. And that is why I agree with Mr. Atachi. Okay? But for him to ridicule me is something else, because I know that we have begun payment. The Minister of Finance wrote to us to validate the indebtedness that we owe to him and his colleagues, which the Minister of Roads and Highways has done appropriately.
Right.
And I know some contractors who have told me that they have received payments. So I'll be very surprised. I don't know the association that Mr. Atachi heads. I cannot dispute him. We have different associations. I don't know which one he heads.
Okay.
But apparently, I want to put it across to the nation and to all Ghanaians that we have started the process.
All right.
About a couple of weeks ago, the president saw and he appointed a board of trustee governors for the road fund, and they were inaugurated. And that is what they have decided to do. And I'm...
All right. Point well made, Mr. Jalula. Let me quickly get to... Right. Mr. Agboja, thank you for your patience. We just had to situate the conversation, put it into context, and we're getting there. But I want you to sort of give us some insight into some of the measures that the Deputy Roads Minister is highlighting. He is talking about more property taxes. He's talking about other avenues, road tolls and all of that. But you from the minority end, you've spoken about the road fund itself and that the only way you're going to support this cause in Parliament is for the cap on the road fund to be removed. Explain exactly why and whether that is the sole way we can get out of this quagmire.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's put it into context.
Right.
Based on documents presented to us in Parliament at the Road and Transport Committee, I believe government owes contractors, both GOG and Road Fund currently, approaching 8 billion. You heard the gentleman saying Road Fund alone is about 5 billion. So we owe them about 8 billion. Now, the road fund would not be able to pay for everything. In any case, it's supposed to just do maintenance. But where it becomes a problem is this, that you have inadequate resources to do roads. Ghanaians have contributed 1.8 billion Ghana cedi to you to do roads. Then you decide you will use only half of that money to do roads. In fact, there's more allocation to the office of the president than the road fund. Yeah. And currently, you understand that when they say the finance minister is paying, it is a joke. You have taken away almost 1 billion out of the road fund for 2 years, and once in a while you give them a paltry part of that money, and then we are supposed to be clapping for you. But the saddest point is that, like the contractor said, road construction is capital intensive. In fact, the renting of even one dozer a day, the price of one dozer, one brand new dozer, is more than $500,000. A grader is more than $400,000. So if a contractor mobilizes, go to site, 10 tipper trucks and other things, they could consume fuel in the excess of 100,000 cedis a week. So if they work for a year, raise certificates based on monies they raise from the financial institutions, paying 34% per annum. Imagine that if they raise a certificate of 5 million Ghana cedi, and that certificate stays with government for 3 years, by the time you pay them that 5 million, they will have zero impact. They probably will be owing the bank. So the government should find a way. So when they say they want to increase road tolls, I say this, yes, you can look at all sources, but currently, road tolls contribute only about 75 million Ghana cedi to the road fund. Only 75 million Ghana cedis.
Right.
And the highest one is the Accra-Tema motorway. So when you say we pay only 50%...
But just to clarify, you say it contributes just about 75 million, but that is why the minister, the deputy minister is saying that let's increase it from 50 pesos, let's say, to about 5 cedis. That would, shoot the figure up by about 5 times.
No,
it could.
No. What? Okay, the reason I'm saying that it's 75 million is this. You are talking about something that ends only 75 million, and you want to increase it. But you have left 900 million with the finance ministry, free. So our point is that go and get the 900 million, and then we can look at the funding gap. Then we can discuss whether it is supposed to be a fuel price that we need to increase or road tolls and other things. Until you're able to do that, it's just like giving your child a school fees is 1,000 cedis. You gave the money to your child to go to school and pay the fees. He decided to go and use 500 cedis to buy jeans and polo shirts and other things, and then come back to you and say, give me more money. Would you give him more money? No. The government has not justified the use of the 1.8 billion Ghana cedi we gave them. Half of it has been squandered. Why I say squandered is that has not been used for road-related expenditure.
Right.
So if we get that money back, then we can discuss it. Until that time, the minority would not support government to increase road tolls and exacerbate the suffering of Ghanaians.
All
it's
right.
as simple as that.
Let me come to you, Mr. Atachi. You were laughing heartily when Deputy Minister Jalula was speaking. Why exactly were you laughing?
Yeah, one, the close of the day, it looks like people are behaving like a pirate. They copy what they heard and say what they heard. The reason why I say that, my brother, right now, let's say for instance, as my members, we how do we call it? We have SMC. The SMC, they were the people, grass cutting and the gutter choke, they distill and all those things. Those money is very minute. It's very small. When you pay those people, why do you make advice? That's in the first place. Now, back to the deputy minister. If you really listen to his presentation, it looks like it's not too much familiar to what is on the ground. I am in for correction, but to my personal observation, it looks like it doesn't know much on the ground. No, my brother, let me tell you one thing. The two, we have the entry point, the petrol levy and the toll. These are the major areas we raise money for the road fund. And averagely, like the ranking member has said, it's over 70 million every month. Multiplied by 12 months, which is 1 year. Multiplied by 4 years. Or now let's take it 5 years. My brother, the close of the day, by this time, this pressure wouldn't be there. Again, when you use development fund, you see, in the construction, we have a road fund, that's the routine maintenance and the related one. But when we talk development, those are the development partners coming in, like Accra to Kumasi and those kind of things. So, when you use the road maintenance, the routine maintenance money, which is the road fund, for the other thing, like the ranking member has said, which looks like the deputy minister didn't do anything about it. The money was capped. To where? That's the question. Those mathematical, this I brought now, if it's 70 plus a month times 12, it's more than that 800 they are talking about. I mean, that they have released to the system to pay the contractor. So the main reason I'm laughing that money he's talking about, why didn't you pay me? Why didn't you pay the other contractors? I mean, even this evening, if I forward the messages I've been receiving, you sympathize. I tell you very much that he has sympathizers for the way my people are dying, the way things are happening to us. I salute him for that.
Very quick one, Mr. Atachi. Very quick one there.
Just to clarify something.
All right.
The 75 million is actually the entire year. It's
No, it's not the entire year.
No.
Let me make this correction. It's not the entire year.
No, hold on. We get only about 6 million Ghana cedi thereabout a month on the road toll. The entire year is 75 million. So that is the fact.
Okay. I've said it that I am in for correction, But
Okay.
all the same,
Okay.
if it's 6 million, I need somebody to take me to classroom and clarify those things for me. But on behalf of my people, what I'm saying is that whether it's 6 million a month, if 6 million a month multiplied by this, that's 48 million, a year. If it's 45 million a year, 6 times 12, that is 48 million a year.
So just to clarify, Mr. Atachi, 6 times 6 would give you 36, and 6 times 12 would give you a double multiplication of that, which would be 72.
72, yes, thank you very much for your correction. If it's 72, but I am challenging it. I'm saying that I'm in for correction anyway, but I'm challenging it that the record or things which we are aware of is more than that.
Okay.
However, if it is less,
right.
If the money is not capped to another area, I think where we are today, I don't think, no, if today, one of our meeting, we all agree, I think about some 6 months ago, we met the sector minister. This issue arose about increasing of the tool. We are ever ready to support.
Right.
Only as a ranking member is saying, we the road contractors, we want to give our nod for them to increase. But if it's increased, it has to be used for the purpose of being increased. That's where we are coming from.
All right. We'll be taking a batch of questions, but right before we do that, Mr. Atachi, I just want very simple answers, straight to the point. How much are you owed as a contractor? How much are you owed?
That's as I've said already. It's almost 5.5 million, but every day, new certificates have been presented to the road fund again.
Okay.
You see, in the road sector, it's not like coffee, you finish everything before you. No. As soon as you have done about 22%, you have done 2%.
Mr. Atachi, I think, pardon my interjection again. I think you're getting it wrong. I was asking you as an individual, how much are you owed? How much are you owed? As a contractor, you individually, how much are you owed?
I can't speak on behalf of everybody that this man owed this man owed
All right.
that. All right. And for security reasons, I cannot disclose my own too.
All right. Mr. Atachi, thank you. Just hold your horses there.
I'm robbers to come attack me.
Thank you for that point. Now, going online, some of you have been sending your questions. Nicholas Samwini says, can you believe that there's no single toll booth in the whole of the Upper West region? So maybe when I come to the Deputy Roads Minister, we might have to look at that. How are you going to raise the funds? There are no toll booths there, apparently. James Agra sends me a lot of laughing emojis, and you are referencing Mr. Atachi when he was laughing. Tony Men says, Multimedia recently covered the bad state of our roads in Krachi and Chumuru. We have very bad roads in the whole district. Fix Krachi and Chumuru roads. That's what Rocky Jr. is sending through. This one says, Ben, pay no mind to this man. I don't know whether you're referring to the deputy minister. You say they have not paid us. This government is, I can't read what you're saying, but you're saying that, and I pray that the spirit of something will soon visit them. Tony Men says they can't even put any toll booth in Oti because there is absolutely no road under construction here. We are tired. Okay, so that's what some of you have been sharing. Frederick also says if the authorities are not determined to use the little resources at their disposal to carry out periodic and routine maintenance on our roads, no amount of increment in road tolls will change the narrative. That's Frederick there. Santi says, wasn't that the same thing we were told when it got increased in the past? Truth is, nothing changed and nothing will change even if it gets increased again. Right after the toll booth on the Pubiman Amasaman stretch, the road is so bad on both sides that Tema motorway isn't any better. That's Santi sending in that one. Shuaib says, the problems facing the road sector in Ghana today is multifaceted. The bigger one is lack of payment on the part of government. Most of the smaller contractors who undertake road maintenance work to keep our roads in good shape are not being paid. So most of them abandon site, resulting in rapid deterioration of our roads. So let the Roads Ministry review and prioritize maintenance activities and pay these contractors to return to site. Stephen says the year of roads is in its second year, which is almost ending. Now, Doku says, Ghana, dear, I know one day the government will give road construction to a pure water company pair. And some of you getting jocose and a bit sarcastic with it. So I'll be coming to Governor Kwame Abuja, but I feel that this question must be posed to Mr. Atachi right before I do that, so that there's a flow. But maybe before I get to them, Mr. Jalula, so looking at all of these things that have been said, the road contractors are saying these sums of money are not getting to them. And even what is getting to them is getting to the SMEs, those who are owed very little, should I say, paltry sums of money. And that this is not going to help. You have been saying they should return to site. How do you expect them to do that?
First of all, Mr. Tachi, I think that I have not met him personally, but for him to ridicule what I was saying is just unfortunate. I do not want to be affected, and for that, I'll respect him as elder citizen, and to say that the country is a going concern. We inherited some debt. We paid some debt, and we acknowledge that we owe road contractors. And that is why I salute all road contractors in the country, because they have done a yeoman's job. And we all agree the GOG and road constitutes the chunk of the source of funding for our roads. Now, it's just a couple of weeks ago that our road fund board was constituted. And that is why the government released about 800 million to pay to our hardworking road contractors. Personally, I admit that that is not enough. But it's a fact that we have released the money. Mr. Atachi may not have been paid. He also acknowledges that we have some people who have done jobs that are very low. Mean are committed to clearing all indebtedness. So, what is wrong if we start from the lowest and we climb up to Atachi's level? So, and it is not for the whole year. This is just the beginning to start with a board. And I assure Mr. Atachi that the government is committed to paying the road contractors.
Okay, you've made it clear that you are committed. Just to wrap up, because we're concluding on some of these salient points. The 5 billion plus, you're paying a drop in the bucket, about 800 million. When do you hope to clear the remainder of the sum of money? Within the year?
Every day, just like my good brother, the ranking said, 75 per year. But Mr. Atachi is that.
Unfortunately, the connection is not too good once more with Mr. Jalula. We'll return to him for him to give an answer to that question. Mr. Agboja, moving forward, what do you feel should be done to ensure that, first of all, we can clear the indebtedness to contractors and that we can actually make year 2 of the Year of Roads feasible, practical? What do you think should be done in the immediate term?
Okay, I think our senior colleague, the representative of the contractors, got something wrong. First of all, contractors are paid some monies throughout the year, some money. It's just not enough. Secondly, I think when he talks about the 70 million, he's talking about this, the releases that are done monthly to the road fund. You know, the accruals come monthly, and then the Ministry of Finance is supposed to release that. So he's right when he says 70 million, but that is not the road toll. The 70 million he's talking about is actually the release from Ministry of Finance. So if you calculate from January till this time, when they say they are paying 800 million, it almost amounts to the accruals that they are supposed to give to the road fund, the 70 million,
Right.
70 million.
Right.
That is the first.
Right.
Secondly, what can we do to make the situation better? First of all, decap the road fund. Let road fund have the full gamut of their projected 1.9 billion. In fact, they are projecting to get 1.92 billion this year. Imagine if you owe somebody even 7 billion, and you can by the end of this year pay them 2 billion. That's just from the road fund. That would have been a chunk of that money that you have defrayed already before government GOG will pay something. But currently what they do is that they take the same road fund money, keep half in road fund, give one to the road ministry, somewhere down the road, then they come and say that we are releasing 800 million as if it's a new money. It's not a new money. I agree that we might have to review certain things. When they came to Parliament to increase the fuel levy recently, by 10 pesos. I said, instead of putting that money to say we are going to use it for sanitation. Sanitation is okay, but other countries, people pay, because where I live, I pay for my rubbish to be collected, I pay my assembly and everything. So why am I supposed to pay extra?
Right.
So that 5 pesos of that money would have accrued another 300 million Ghana cedi to the road fund. But they decided that we are keeping the city clean, so they have put that one there. So the bottom line, the NPP government is not committed to doing roads in this country beyond the rhetoric. The first year of road saw nothing. The second year of road have got only 1 billion Ghana cedi in that budget.
Right.
When they themselves are awarding projects at the cost of $1.2 million per kilometer. So how many kilometers can you do?
Right. Point well made there, Mr. Agboja. Basically, government is not committed. Let's return to Mr. Jalula. You were making a point. You can just wrap up on that point, and we can call it, a show. Mr. Jalula, are you with us? Let's hear from Mr. Atachi very quickly then. Now, Mr. Atachi, your final words, and I want you to also just chip this in. Are you willing to meet government halfway by returning to site, like the Deputy Minister, Honorable Jalula, has said? Are you going to return to site?
Yeah, thank you very much. In actual fact, it's impossible, simply because right now we have a lot of people concerned, even our workers. We can't pay our workers. How do you tell them to go to the site again? That is our problem. So for that one, I would like to appeal to the Deputy Minister to go back to his drawing board and do the necessary arrangement to put in place. You see, it's not the will. We the road contractor, we are businessmen. The more we have things, the more we make sure. All right. We also make so. It's what he's saying is impossible.
All right. Point well made.
Hello?
Thank you so much, Mr. Atachi. Let's wrap up with Mr. Jalula. Your concluding comments on this in less than a minute, if you can hear me, Mr. Jalula.
Thank you so much for having me back. And let me say that when I spoke at Anyaso Utum, it fear to all road contractors to return to site. And I qualified and I said that those that have been paid, and it is an ongoing process. As and when we pay them, we expect them to go back honorably to the that is signed for to carry on. So I will assure Mr. Atachi that we are committed to paying them because we have agreements with them. And we will honor this agreement. And to my ranking and senior colleague in Parliament, I want him to know that the government is committed to fixing our roads. Right. And also, with him, I think my own sector minister agrees that the capping is problematic for all of us.
Gentlemen, this is where we're going to have to wrap the conversation, unfortunately. But thank you all for joining. For our radio listeners, A Walk with Jesus is up next. This has been The Probe as we talk about the state of our roads. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Thank you for staying with us.